Hey folks, Russ here with Blue Line Wood Flags. Welcome to the channel. In this video, we are going to go over a few additions that I've added to the CNC machine, namely some LED lighting underneath the gantry so we can light up that spoil board, and a few other add-ons, some holders for the emergency stop and the Z access block, and then another holder for the power supply that powers the LED system. And then I'm also going to go over the spoil board itself that I have elected to use. Some of you have asked for a video to explain my spoil board system and what I'm using. So with that said, let's get going on the video. I think you're going to like it, so let's go have some fun. So this is my CNC machine with my spoil board surface, and if you can tell already, I've modeled my spoil board after what Jay Bates has done. If you're not familiar with Jay Bates, go and look for some of his material on YouTube. He's a great craftsman and he's got some great ideas out there. And what I've done is I've used his system of T-tracks and dog holes. And what I do is I use the TSO dogs in certain places. I mean, there's a number of holes that I've milled out on my spoil board that accepts these TSO dogs. And depending on where I want to put them, I can configure my workpiece, whatever size that workpiece happens to be, in any various location. And then I can just establish my offset in Mach 4 accordingly with where the corners of those workpieces are. So for example, on this one, this is a flag that I'm currently in the process of completing, and it's a Coast Guard flag for a member of our Coast Guard. I won't go into too much about the flag itself in this video, but as you can see, what the flag does is it butts up against these dogs down here on the bottom, and then over on the left side, it butts up against these dogs on the left. And if you position this flag down here in the to the left and to the bottom, you know that this is going to be a known point. And then I align this known lower left with my XY datum that I've created in VCarve Pro for this project, and I apply that to my G55 offset in Mach 4, and the bit will always go here. And I can do that at any point on the spoil board as well. So that's what I'm using for my spoil board, and as you can tell, I've got some other clamping methods here. I use the wood. This is a walnut right here. I'm using walnut spacers between these Craig clamps because when I mill these stripes out with an end mill, my bit comes past the edge of the flag and I don't want it to interfere with any clamping that I'm holding. So I just use those spacers there, and they sit a little bit lower than the actual surface of the flag. And same thing up here, except I'm utilizing some armor clamps which simply lock into place. They lock into place by pressing that lever down. So that's how I secure my my material on the spoil board. And then when the when the milling operation is taking place, that keeps the project secure. So anyway, let's move on to some of the extras that I'm adding, and these are pretty cool. One of them I'll show you right now, and then the others I'll show you as we assemble it. This one goes above the spindle itself, and it is a hose guide for my 4-inch flexible hosing. And what I've done is I've utilized, there was two, if you look at your AVID CNC, you've got two blank holes here below your cable track, and I've used those two holes to secure this mount. And this is a two-piece unit that I fabbed on my 3D printer and assembled it, and it works great for holding this flex hose in place. And then up here, just to secure it, I've got a little Velcro strap just for a little more added security. So if you're interested in this file, I will make that available in a link down below in the information. So if you guys watched my build video of my AVID CNC machine, I forget which part it was probably in part 3 when we got the cable track together. In fact, I know it was in part 3. It was a 3-part series. I challenged you to figure out what this little AC adapter was for, and we're going to go over that in this video along with some other items. I've basically got an LED kit which I ordered from LED Supply, and that LED system is going to go underneath the gantry. It's going to span all 4 feet, and it's going to be in a tray, not a tray, it's going to be in an angled bracket that's going to shine down at a 45-degree angle and illuminate my work surface, my spoil board, with some pretty bright LED light. So that's going to work out really good. It comes with a little remote controller, a transformer, a power supply, and all the wiring and associated hardware that is necessary to mount that LED system on the lower part of that gantry. And I've got some, actually I went and bought some 3M, some of the real super strong double stick tape. I think it's VBR or VR tape. Let's see what it says. VHB tape is what it is, and it's made by 3M. Really good stuff, super strong. And that'll hold that channel, that's gonna hold that LED strip in place real well. And as you can see, I've also got some 3D printed brackets for various items for the machine as well. I've got one that's gonna be for our Z0, this job right here. It's gonna hold that, and then one for our emergency stop button. And then I went ahead and designed one that I couldn't find on Thingiverse. This is one that is custom made, that is going to hold this power supply for the LED. That is going to mount over on the right side of the gantry. So let's get going on installing these items one by one, and let's have some fun with this. Now, one thing I didn't mention is I didn't have, when I completed the assembly of my machine, I didn't have enough of these bolts that are going to be required to mount all these 3D printed brackets. So I actually had to get on the AVID website and get some extra bolts and these little T-track nuts that basically go in these slots, these roll-in T-track nuts. So yeah, I got enough of those to do all 3 of these brackets. So let's get going. Got 2 holes on top and 1 hole on the bottom. It's going to go right here like this. And I do most of my assembly for the aligning to get my Z0 kind of in this area, pretty close to my G55 offset, which is right down here in this area, this lower left region of the board. So I'm going to mount this. I'm going to start with mounting it in this area here. It's always subject to change. I can move it if I need to, but I'm going to put that kind of right here. I think it'll work good. And we'll put this one in. Okay. And then we'll line this last one up. You get the idea. So we've got pretty much this one in place where I'd like it. And we'll just cinch it down a little bit, not too tight. Okay, so this one's installed. It looks like the only thing that I want to do with it is maybe clean up some of this cord down here on the bottom and coil it up, maybe use a zip tie, because that's obviously not, or I won't need that much of that cord going up to my projects. And then just to utilize it, it's just a matter of pulling the little magnet piece out and then sliding this up, placing it on the spoil board where I need it. And then when I'm done, just go ahead and sliding this back down into the bracket. And then I guess this little side piece right here is just for the hanging the magnet on. This wasn't my design. I got that off of Thingiverse, so it looks like it'll work pretty good. And you can also obtain it on Thingiverse if that's not, or if that's something you're interested in. The next thing I'm going to go ahead and install is this emergency e-stop bracket. Right now, I'm currently using tie straps to hold it in place, and I've kind of got it up under near the right side of the gantry right there, to where if I needed it, I would have had to come under here and then hit the e-stop that way. This is going to mount right here. It'll be a little more accessible should I need to do an emergency stop operation. So I'm not going to put you through the task of viewing me bolt this one on. You saw me bolt the other one on, and I'll go ahead and do this one off camera, and then we'll come back and show it in place. Okay, we've got our e-stop mount secured onto our 80/20 extrusion, and it looks like that's going to be a good fit and good placement for it. My only concern on this is maybe it's sticking out and me accidentally hitting this, since it does stick out quite a bit from that aluminum. But it is a lot more accessible than where it used to be, which was back underneath here, which may have at times been proven to be difficult to get to if I needed to get to it quickly. So I think this is going to work out really good. And then getting back to this, I did coil up some of the cord, and I'm using this little overhang to hang that cord on. Only time will tell to see if that works out the way I wanted it to, but I did get a lot of the cord off the floor than what was on there before. So moving along is our LED kit. And we'll be installing this bracket over on that right side of that gantry. You'll see that in a minute. And when I fabricated it, I fabbed it for 4 holes, and I have exactly 4 bolts left to do this LED project with. So again, I'll source this LED kit. I bought it from LED Supply. I think it costed about maybe $70 or $80 altogether. It's got a really good Meanwell power supply, and that includes the channel that it rides in. I wanted to ride it in a nice channel under there to protect it and not have it just using the self stick that comes on the LEDs itself. So I'll show you that installation process next. Okay, so what I've done to this point now is I've brought the gantry all the way to the front of the machine just for ease of installation. Like I said, I may have said before that this LED system, it's runs off of this RFID remote. It doesn't have to be pointed at the system. It could actually work in another room, and it'll go through walls. Not that I'll ever use it in that capacity, but I'm going to go ahead and just check it just to make sure it works before I do any installation. It does, so I think I'm ready to go ahead and install it, and we'll go ahead and get going on this. Okay, interesting thing about this mounting channel, as you can see, it's got a little 45-degree indentation there, so when it gets mounted up underneath, the light will shine down at a 45-degree angle. But the interesting thing is when you order it from LED Supply, it only comes in 3-foot lengths, and obviously I needed a 4-foot length, so what we had to do is order 2 3-footers and take a little small saw and cut 1 foot off to get our 4-foot, and we'll just have to do a 2-piece installation, so it'll still be fine. Okay, all I'm doing now is cleaning all the metal surfaces, the mounting surfaces, with isopropyl alcohol. I'm using 91%, so it evaporates quick and there's no moisture left on there. Just cleaning it where the VHB tape is going to be placed, just so I know that the surface is totally free of contaminants and any type of body oil from my hands. And we'll also clean up underneath the gantry where I know it's going to mount, get all the contaminants off of there as well. Okay, this VHB tape, I don't know if you can see it in the camera there, it's VHB by 3M. This is rated as some of the strongest double-sided tape that you can buy. I did a little research online and found that to be the case. And I use this stuff on my other CNC machine, which is an Axiom. It came with an LED strip on that machine, but the the 3M stick, or it wasn't a 3M, it was a sticky double face tape that came with that, fell off after a couple days in the heat here in the middle of the summer. So I needed something stronger. I used this VHB stuff and it hasn't come off since. So I know it's good stuff and I know it works real well. And if you choose to use it, you'll be really happy with it. Stick this on there. And it doesn't have to be perfect. This is going to be up underneath the gantry, so it's going to be hidden. You're not going to see if it's, you know, slightly not in line, so I wouldn't worry about getting it perfect, just so long as it's on the entire surface and you can hold it. Okay, I'm going to get the rest of this big long channel covered, and then we'll get ready to stick it up on the underside of the gantry. Just going to find where I want to mount it, and once I'm satisfied where I like it, just going to come up underneath and just apply equal pressure and stick it where I want it to go. Okay, now we're going to put on our 3-foot section, and we'll apply that on the underside. Okay, you guys can see that I've got the long channel mounted on the underside of the gantry as well. So I'm just going to take a little more rubbing alcohol, isopropyl alcohol, and clean up the bottom of the channel as well, including that piece that I mounted earlier, that small section. And just make sure that the double stick side of the LED will adhere to it. What's really cool about this LED strip, I've already pre-cut it to the length that I need underneath, and it's got these, I don't know if you can see here if it's out of focus or not, but it's got these little cut lines that you cut on, and they're spaced out about every 2 inches or so, which gives you a lot of versatility. All right, guys, so here we've got the LED strip mounted on the underside of the gantry in that 45-degree channel. It was really easy going in. It's just a matter of peeling back the double stick tape that's on the LEDs and pressing it in place. Just take one small section at a time and press firmly and evenly. All right, the last part is going to be putting this bracket in place, which is going to mount right here on this right side of this gantry on the outside. And it's, when I made it on my 3D printer, I spec'd it out to the width and height of this Meanwell power supply that came with my LED kit. So I'll put that on there, and then we'll put the power supply in and get it all secured with some cable ties, make it looking good, and then we'll put the diffuser covers over the LEDs themselves, and then we'll fire it up so you guys can see. So let's get going. It really helps to have the right tools for the job. I've got these T-handled Klein Allen wrench, but they're the ball head type, which allows you to get in at different angles, and they're magnetic, so you can pick stuff up and hold it, and it's not going to drop on you. I'm just going to tighten these down, not too much, just enough to hold it. The power supply is not a heavy part at all. So I'm going to unplug it so I can slide it in. And we're just going to slide it back in over here. Actually, now I remember that I made it a little large. I actually had to make 2 iterations of this. The first one was too tight and it didn't fit at all. So on my second attempt, I made it purposely just a little too loose. And I knew I would have to come back with some tape on the inside surface just to keep it from sliding around like it is. So I'm going to go get some tape and put that on there. Okay, a little bit of painter's tape on both surfaces solved the sliding around problem, so it fits nice and snug in there. It's not going to go anywhere. And let's plug our power supply back into AC power. Got it cleaned up with a little isopropyl alcohol. Now we'll just go ahead and place that little mounting base on there where we want it. Give it a little pressure so it doesn't go anywhere. Then we'll use a second cable tie. I'll pull that top one up a little bit so it doesn't interfere with that bottom. And then this we'll go through just like that. Okay. That done. Okay guys, so we've got everything installed. We've got our Z axis 0, and then we've got our emergency stop mounting bracket installed, and then we went ahead and installed our LED system, including our power supply mount over there on the gantry, and there you can get a good look at how that works. The AC power runs through the cable track and down under the machine and into the AC power back on the wall. And yeah, so that was a couple hours of real time. I know it's probably not a couple hours camera time once I get done editing this. I hope to get it under 20-30 minutes, but let's turn it on so you can see the difference. So this is with it off, and this is what I've been using. Oh yeah, I also forgot our hose adapter. I really like this bright orange. It's what they call Prusa orange. I've got a Prusa 3D printer, and I just like that color for some reason. It makes it stand out, and the parts that I've made don't blend in with the rest of the machine, and then I can look at that stuff, and I don't know, me personally, I'm a little more proud of what I can accomplish and make on my own. So anyway, that's me, you be you. And so yeah, that's how the table, the spoil board looked before lighting, adding any light, LED lights. So this is what it looks like when we go ahead and light it up. So you can see it's quite a bit of difference. It really lights up this table. And then again, we'll shut it off and then on. So now when I'm working under here with something, I can really see what's going on. So anyway, have a great day, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it and you like my content, please hit the subscribe button and smash that like button. And be sure to hit the little bell icon to be notified when I post new content. And again, thank you for joining me. And until the next video, cheers.